Hello, everyone. We are officially live. Welcome to this Learning Sound and Synthesis Spotlight Series interview. I am here today with the wonderful Ipek Eginli, and I'm so happy to have this conversation. We're going to be talking about some of the key factors that helped Ipek go from being basically a synth novice, a newbie in the synth world, to where she is now, which is really amazing, touring, playing more concerts than I think is humanly possible on modular synth, piano, voice, releasing records, doing amazing collaborations with some really inspiring artists, and generally just having a really active and creatively inspiring musical
Inspiraling.
practice. Spiraling.
I
Yeah.
am doing that too.
So welcome, Ipek. Welcome to everyone who's watching us live. If you're here live, go ahead and drop a comment. It's always fun to see that you're tuning in. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. Let us know you're watching after the fact. That's great too. Let's start off with a little intro. Ipek, do you mind telling us a little bit about who you are and what you like to do?
Okay, I'm Ipek. Hi, everyone. I am originally, whatever is originally, is a classically trained pianist. And jumping now, I still play the piano, and I do that with modular synthesizers. It always comes up, with concerts and on the posters and things like, what do you do? And I usually go with electroacoustic avant-garde music. Sometimes it's experimental, but yeah, that's piano, voice, and modular synthesizers, and fun, and having fun with
And
all of them.
fun. I love that.
That's the most important part for me, for sure, is that all the things I'm so grateful, all the things that you mentioned, and I love doing all of that. But what centers me is just that connection to the music itself. I even have it written on my mirror every time I wake up. What I say is that you make music, the rest will come. Whatever the rest is,
I love
not
that.
not climbing or anything. It's just the rest around the music, but the music that's where where I start everything.
Focus on the music, focus on fun. Those are two amazing starting ingredients. That's just amazing. Okay, so you mentioned you're a classical pianist, or you were originally trained in classical piano. Can you, just for some context for people who don't already know you, can you take us back a little bit, maybe a couple of years ago? I know we've been working together in different ways for a couple of years, which is hard to believe. Time flies. It's wild.
I know.
What was your musical life like before you started to get deep into the world of modular synthesis and electronic music or electroacoustic music? What was working for you? What was not working for you? Can you give us a bit of a picture there?
Absolutely.
So that we know where you came from?
Love that. So I'm going to go a little earlier than a couple of years ago, just to give context. I'm originally from Turkey, and similar to yours, Sarah, I went to a full-time conservatory of just like music, every corner you looked, which is beautiful, but it was difficult too. The first exposure for me to electronic music is probably in my college years, or maybe earlier than that a little bit, with Edgar Varese, and Stockhausen, Berio. All those people were doing tape music back then, and we didn't even see the machines that they were doing. I just had the music. I would put the tape in, and I would just play along with that. So it was always something outside of me. It was so alien that for many reasons, because of where I lived, or because I was a classically trained pianist, or I was not a composer, it was just always outside of me. And that's how I kind of grew up. And then even when I listened to other kinds of electronic music, it was because of all those names and genres you put yourself in, or people put you in, that you're this and that. electronic music, like I said, seemed always outside of me. That's something not that not only capable of, not that it wasn't for me in this life, that I
Mm,
wasn't just made for it.
hmm.
Um, so a couple years ago, I think the first I purchased my Nord keyboard stage 3 that had an synthesizer in it, and I started playing around with sounds, and during that time also, I started becoming a little more open with my improvisations. So because I always improvise, but again, for the similar reasons, I always thought that that needed to be hidden, that it can't be out and about. And then what I started seeing, these two things coming together slowly, and then they came so close to my face that I couldn't ignore them anymore. Like improvisation and electronic music became so important, and they started coming together when I understood not I only I could improvise on the piano openly, that I could also improvise with electronic music, that it didn't have to be necessarily sounding like this track or that or this person, that it could be my own creation, and all those things could be together. And then I was more feeling like a kid at that point, and I just went like, okay, give me, like, where can I learn more of this, because I
Yeah.
feel this courage, and to explore more, and this curiosity, and I started looking around at that time. It's like, how can I get more information?
It's just so interesting that you mentioned the improvisation was almost something that you um, would do. I don't know if you exactly said in secret, but or if I'm just saying that because that's what I used to do.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
curious
literally.
if anyone can relate to this in the comments or the chat who's watching. Let me know. It might not be about improvisation, but it was basically for me. It was like I had training in a specific style of music, which was classical orchestral music. And when I started to get into more experimental techniques, I literally practiced them in secret because I was worried that people would be like, "That's bad. Don't do that. That's not correct." You know, or people would be like, "Oh, she's no longer legit," or whatever. And I've
Yeah,
heard a lot
right.
of students, it might not be a technique. I've heard some students say, "Well, you know, I've released a techno record, which is great, and now I'm curious about making experimental music." Or whatever, insert any genre there. And they're worried that if they do something that's different from what they've already done, that somehow it's going to like, damage their place in the music world. And there's so much fear around just like following those those things that go, those tugs, following the like, ooh, I want to improvise, ooh, I want to do techno, ooh, I want to do a sound installation, ooh, I want to play a classical sonata. It's like, do it all, in my opinion. Do like follow the things that inspire you.
I wholeheartedly agree, because one of the things that, yes, at the beginning it might feel, because everything takes muscle, right? Everything is a
Mm.
practice. So at the very beginning, you feel this little thing that you want to do, and then you're doing all these other things that it's easy to push that down for many reasons, because you're not used to pulling it up, and then I'm just bringing it to life. We are used to usually like pushing that down. Oh, you got to stay down because these are the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Supposed to be
So I
doing
think,
right.
yes, exactly. And then whenever we say suppose, it's something that's coming from an outside value system. And that's just because that's where we feel like belonging. But then I think after a while, when you start like, okay, listening and bringing it up for no expectation,
Yeah.
not this is gonna become big, or this is gonna become my best album, or this is gonna people are gonna notice all of this, just that it is there, just to honor the thing that's there, and being curious about it. Then next time other ones come, then you were able to say, oh, I've done that, I can do this again, and then they start becoming a whole forest, those little
Oh,
trees.
yes.
So it is that it's a muscle on its own to listen to that and then bring it to life,
That's such
without.
a nice way of thinking about it. Yeah. Follow the curiosity, right? We talk a lot about curiosity in this community for good reason.
Yes.
You don't have to know where it's going to lead. It's just about kind of trusting that and going, I wonder where it's gonna, I wonder what it might be. So speaking of curiosity, okay, so around this time you were like, I'm looking for more information. I want to get deeper into this improvisation, electronic music combination world, right?
Mhm.
You eventually found your way into the world of modular synthesis.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you
And
joined
you, I
Learning.
was gonna say.
Welcome. And you joined, among other things, you joined Learning Sound and Synthesis. So I'm curious, now fast forward a year, a couple years into doing this, you just have this amazing practice where you combine piano, modular synth, you use your voice, you use, percussion instruments sometimes, you do your Nord, you do no input mixing. That's like an amazing transformation. Can you walk us through somehow how you got there, or was there anything in particular that really helped you go from like, I'm curious, what is this, to having this dialed in live performance setup that's like combines all of these parts of you into one? Does that make sense? That was a big
Yes.
question. I just asked you a lot.
Yeah.
Take it in
I
any
was
way you want.
following. I was following. So I think there's always this alternative reality that's going on in us somewhere that is
Okay.
building on its own with these, yeah, maybe multiple realities of the things that say, I wish I did this, or I wish I did this. And I feel like those things are kind of continuing and creating new realities within us, the things that we thought that we could have done and we didn't, and maybe a part of us lives that. And when I realized that, when I saw this curiosity and started looking in more with inside, then I started finding all those worlds alive that they're already going on, and they had all these ideas, um, that it wasn't completely new. To summarize, that I all the things that, like, the that I wanted to compose but I never did, but that part of me was alive. I wanted
Uh-huh.
to improvise, but I didn't. But that part of me was improvising within and wanting to do that and almost waiting for the moment to come out. So
So
they
that's maybe
didn't
just
die. Yeah,
right.
they didn't just die by when I decided that I wasn't going to do it. They were like, okay, we'll just wait, but we're gonna live our own little worlds within you, and then hopefully you'll visit us sometime. And same thing with electronic music. My whole life, not only experimental electronic music, my whole life I used to live at in camping sites at festivals. That's how my youth was, just going to EDM concerts or listen. I was in love with trip hop. It was just, for me, in every corner was electronics. I just wasn't the one that who thought could do it. So, and that part of me always lived. So by the time that I was honoring that curiosity, I was all in with all those worlds that were waiting. Um,
So it was
but
just a
at
matter
this
of, oh, sorry, no, you go ahead.
No. At the same time, I just want to say that that's not that was my version of it, because I've lived music my whole life, right? I mean,
Right.
that's not the reality with everyone. Started really young, and I was just like literally in this world of just music. But I feel that even someone who didn't have that musical background but felt that curiosity, they still have those worlds within. We hear all the time that, oh, I want to always do music, but I never did it. So those people also have those worlds within them waiting to be brought out. So
Right.
because that's why I was, even in my teaching world as a teacher, I hear that and I go like, yo, they're there. It's about reaching out. So one of the reasons that I do all multiple instruments, they have practical reasons, because like one of the reasons I love triggering electronics, and I go like, how do I do that? Oh, I have my voice. I'm not a singer, I always say that, but I use my voice to trigger electronics. I'm not a percussion player. I grew up with Turkish instruments, and I love that combination of like my past sounds just triggering these new sounds that I'm creating, and that's one of the reasons I put them together. So it's the curiosity, and there's an honoring. I do a lot of stuff with my Nord, which we developed the relationship. I used to think that I should not play any keyboards. Keyboards bad. It has to be an acoustic piano. But I love using my keyboard, and it has a different space for me.
Yeah.
And then now I could play anywhere I want, even if they don't have a piano. So that's one of the reasons that it's here and there, and it's all connecting to making sounds and making music.
So it sounds to me like you were almost cultivating this side of your creativity for years and years before you finally decided to support that with the technical know-how, right?
Yes.
And to actually say,
Yes.
I'm going to learn how these things work. And I think a lot of people are in that situation where they've got ideas, even if they're half formed, or they've got the desire or the inspiration for what they could do, but for some reason they stop themselves before going and learning the technical how to, because they're like, it's not for me, or maybe I'm not smart enough, or I don't have enough time, or whatever it is. But one of the things that I see a lot in learning sound and synthesis, and I saw you do this, Ipek, a lot, was you learn one thing, one technical thing, and you run like for miles with that one thing. I remember, filter resonance was a big thing for you, like self oscillating filters, feedback, simple ways of triggering, like you said, triggering electronics using microphone inputs. But, and you would be off and you would like record an entire album with like one or two techniques. And I think that's just such a cool thing to remind people about, that you don't need a PhD in sound design or synthesis in order to like open that side of your creative life. You can have three technical ideas, and that can be your world for 6 months, right? And then you can
Yes.
go from
Yes.
there and add on another one or another one and so on.
I definitely would like to connect this to meeting you and meeting all the information that you provide for all of us in different programs. And this exact same thing that you're talking about is not available anywhere as much. Like when you listen to other videos or all those, they're always prescription. There's like, I will teach you how to do this very thing, and then you watch and you learn, and you're trying to do exactly the same thing. It doesn't sound like the guy or the woman who was doing it. It doesn't sound like you, and you're like, oh God, because that they it was a prescription for this one thing. But the way all your videos and the way all your teaching works is that here's this world, and here are some principles to approach to this world, and also your encouragement of that I think you can flourish in that world. And then you go like and then you start things start appearing as sound and synthesis, especially, that it starts very perfectly really small, and then it makes you get used to these things, and with its history, you start feeling your enthusiasm first, which is very um, what is contagious. It's incredibly contagious, that in your authenticity, in your enthusiasm, in your curiosity, and in your true willingness to really be there for everyone in your videos, not necessarily like showing up as a person, is that and that comes across through those videos. You're like, hell yeah, okay, let's go to the next one. But normally with other videos, that many other things that I feel disconnected, is there's this person who's teaching me
Yeah.
something that's good. I think it's really successful, but your emotions go through the screen and gets in you. And then that was definitely the first thing that made me just like watch it, watch your videos like Netflix series or something. What's next now? I want to see the next one. And then it would just be perfectly every dosage was so great that the next video would be only like this much. So I'm not overwhelmed and just turning it off and I'm like, I can't do this. But also, you would say, I think this is time for you to, because you've done it so many times, you've done it yourself, you've seen so many people that have these personal notes of, I think you can take time for yourself and do this at this point.
Right.
Um, it's really beautiful, and I mean, through the video it feels like you're going through this with someone, uh while you're really probably prone to like, I'm not gonna do this, like you said, this is not me, I can't do this. But you always feel like you have a guide going through this, and it's
Right.
really fun, and it makes you explore your own. It's like, it's a little math, a little music, a little art, a little history, a little of personal health, all of it all combined,
Yeah.
all in one. That's so.
Just
That's definitely, sorry, Sarah. That's definitely was a huge push for me through all of it.
yeah.
That fine, I still am grateful. I sometimes send you a message like, here are these things happen, and I'm really grateful that I had met you before. So I still feel that, and it's important to me because, yes, I had all those things, but the right time, right person, right place. And I think
Right.
that is for a lot of people, not necessarily the specific connection. Um, that I
Well,
believe that those programs are helpful for anyone who wants to do this.
well, I'm so happy that you had such a good experience, and it really means a lot to me whenever I do receive your messages. They make my entire week. So thank you for doing that and sending them. I just want to say briefly, the one of the reasons why I think one of the reasons why kind of like my enthusiasm is contagious. You're not the only one who said that in the way that I teach. I'm so passionate about this. And one of the reasons why I want to make sure people know is because I am one of those people who absolutely 100% did not think I was capable of making this kind of music. When I was interested in getting started in music production, electronic music, live performance with electronics, I had this huge internal story about like, oh no, that's for other people, or oh, I need a degree, a different degree for that, or I don't have the technical skill for that. And over many, many, many years of a lot of painful troubleshooting and research, I was able to learn. And then I very quickly realized like my story is not unique. Like my feeling of it being inadequate or having imposter syndrome around something I really deeply wanted to do, it was not just me. And so when I'm like jumping through the screen with enthusiasm and telling people that they can do it, I really mean it.
Yeah.
I also believe it because I've now worked with thousands of people, but it's coming from that place of like, look, I've been there. This was not easy for me at all. And I totally get that it's probably you're like, what the heck? Like, where am I? What's the difference between an oscillator and an envelope and an LFO? And someone the other day messaged me and said, what is it? What is an envelope and do I need a postage stamp? And I thought that was amazing. I get it. These are all real confusing questions, but you're capable, and it's all explained in in learning sound synthesis, or my free training, which is coming up next week, by the way. I wasn't thinking about talking about this, but we start tomorrow, Synthesis Simplified. It's a 3-part free training. I'm running it tomorrow, Tuesday, and then next Thursday. 3 probably hour-long workshops, live streamed. Everyone's welcome. If you want the link to register, send me a DM and just say the word like simplify or something like that, and I'll get you the link.
That's
Um,
exciting. That's how it all started for me. Your free modular synth, like that one class, I think it was like 20 minutes or something. It was how it started. It was like, with your program, I was immediately drawn into it. And one thing I wanted to mention, that I had heard so many different people's music and sound and synthesis, and that they were so personal. They did not
right.
at all sound like each other, and that was one of the specialties about this program. Like, you could take a teacher's program and then you can have 20 students or 100 students, they all sounding the same or similar, right? When people take your course and they still come out completely themselves wherever they are within their musical journey. I'm not saying like the perfection, because we always talk about that doesn't exist. So wherever they are in their journey, they all sound so personal, they all sound so different, and they talk with each other and share, and there's just so much going on, so much. It's really alive, because I think you create, I mentioned before, you create that space rather than the prescription for the specific path. You create different paths that people can take, and also ways for them to create their own path. So by the time we leave, like, I think one of the reasons why I was able to continue also after you is that I knew how to create paths for
Mm,
myself. It was important that you remember it when I left, when everything ended at that time. I was like, how am I going to do without you? Like, without your courses, like, how is that going to like, I still go back and listen to some of your videos, but it was that I had that ability now, that I
exactly.
could do it on my own,
Hmm.
because I had the basics really well covered, that I could build on those on my own.
Exactly.
um,
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, you're more than capable. And the message I really want to say to anyone watching is that you are also more than capable. If you're feeling like you're not technical enough, and it doesn't need to do synthesis. Like, I'm not necessarily just talking about learning modular synths. Like, maybe you've always wanted to learn another language, or you want to get a different job, or like literally anything in life. I just want to really say, like, go for it. Go for it.
yeah.
Um, so, Ipek, I'd love to talk a little bit, or have you talk a little bit about what you're doing creatively. Like, what are you up to now? Do you have anything you want to share with the audience, for them to listen to, or just what are you doing? What's your musical
Yeah.
world like?
Right now, I'm based in Atlanta, but I was in New York just touring and playing with people, solo, a lot of electroacoustic stuff. And I'm going to be in Chicago and working on quad right now. That's I'm so excited about that. So I could. It's not something that I could do everywhere, obviously, but so that's something that's coming up for me. Yeah, I'm in a lot of live performances. For me, my heart is in live performances, so that's why I try to create that space for myself as much as possible. Although um, with a lot with your encouragement too, I worked on an album, and then that was released in June. That's an electroacoustic album, modular synthesizers and piano, and that's on the Bandcamp. Field recording in a black hole, that's what it's called. I'm working on another album. It's a third one that's going to be also electroacoustic. Hopefully it's going to come out in the fall. So a lot of live performances, and
Amazing.
going to different cities, meeting with incredible people, getting out of my comfort zone, and just to be reminded like how great people are. They exist. And listen to their music, listening to their sounds, and also me constantly growing from that. That's where I am.
That's amazing. I just dropped a link in the chat for your Field Recording in a Black Hole album, which is so good. Um, I remember working with you on putting together your very first live performance, and like all the stuff that
Uh,
went into that. And look at you now. I think it's amazing what you're doing. But before we get distracted, there's a couple people in the chat asking to elaborate on what quad means. It's a really good question. Do you want to do that, or do you want me to do it?
you,
You should do it.
go ahead, you do it. Go ahead, you do it. Just to
the
make sure.
simple the simple thing about quad, so music most commonly these days is in stereo, which just means it's two channels, left and right. If you go to a concert, commonly what you have are like two main speakers, right? Left and right, front of house monitors. Sometimes there's some speakers in the back of a hall as well to fill it in if it's a big concert hall, but typically what they're doing is just like duplicating the front of house, the left and right signals. So quad is short for quadraphonic, which basically just means four channels. It's a form of spatial audio. Instead of two left and right, you have four left, right, left surround, and right surround. And typically they're organized in a square around the audience. And the reason why it's so cool as electronic musicians is because now you have a whole extra dimension to your sound that you can think about. You can, not just move sounds like this, you can send them behind the audience, and you can have them go dance around them in like a circle in the four corners, or you can have them ping pong back and forth.
Mm.
And it just creates this like big, immersive, beautiful experience. You can go more than quad, of course. A lot of surround setups are 8 channels, 16 channels, like anything you could imagine, and beyond. But quad is a nice place to start.
Yes,
How was
and to
that?
me, it's really exciting. That was great. That I wanted you to do it. It's a wonderful feeling for sure to listen to other people's and your music in that surround world, and then just now
Yeah.
in what there's one more element to your composition and improvisation now to think about those things, and it makes
Exactly.
your world grow even bigger. But it takes it's not a place to immediately start to even
Yeah.
appreciate it. Like you get there, I think, and that journey is beautiful. Like I didn't just do that, but it took me quite some time to appreciate and just feel ready. But again, I can't feel ready for things, and that was another thing that I said, oh, I could never do that. That's for like other people. And then when I said like, wait, why not? And then I just went in and I'm
That's
doing it,
amazing.
and it is
And you're
fun.
doing it. And you just do it
Yes,
one step at a time. And you know what? There's
exactly.
so much more to come for you, Ipek. I have
Hmm.
no doubt. So much more
For
to come.
all of us. Yes.
Um, so I want to take a quick second here. I'm going to put two things on the screen. The first is soundandsynthesis.com. If you're watching this and you are curious about my class, Learning Sound and Synthesis, this is the place to go. It's going to bring you to a waitlist page right now. You can add your email. That will sign you up for the waitlist. You will be first in line when enrollment opens, which is happening very soon. And joining the waitlist also means that when you enroll in Learning Sound and Synthesis, you'll get an extra entire class, a masterclass, which is my live performance with Modular Synths training. Talks to you about how to uh, build a live performance creatively, musically, technically, how to put together stage plots and tech writers, how to prepare mentally if you are prone to a little bit of performance anxiety and stage fright, which is normal and something that I went through uh, whew, in a big way. I'll tell you all about that though inside the training, and a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of other things. So soundandsynthesis.com if you're curious. If you want to send me a DM too, send me a DM. My DMs are open anytime and I'd love to talk. The other thing that I just want to mention, and I we'll see if I can put this up on the screen too, is I'm running this free 3-part training starting tomorrow. I'm like making the banner as I'm telling you this, so we'll see. Synthesis Simplified. Did I spell it all right? I think I did. This is completely free. If you're curious about what the heck modular synthesis is, you're brand new to electronic music, and you just want a gentle and supportive and friendly introduction so that you can figure out how to get started with more joy, less overwhelm, I would recommend starting here. Send me a DM with the word simplify or hey, can I come to your workshop or whatever you want to do, and I'll get you the link to register. We start tomorrow. There's 2 other sessions on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. It's going to be really, really fun. And all 3 parts are different. So you want to register and you want to come to all 3 for sure. And yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll pass back to Ipek. Is there anything else that you want to say? Maybe if you have any advice for someone listening who, I don't know, wants to like get started with making their own music or something like that, what would you say?
Um, I know this is really cheesy, but I think you're an angel in the synthesis world, literally. And I think it's anyone who wants to do that. Hopefully, you're going to show up and they're like right on their shoulders, and then just talk to them the way that you are always talking with everyone. No, everyone in the best authentic way that feel that they're special, and I've seen with a lot of people, and that didn't affect me that I wasn't special. We're all special, and you're special in a way that we have what it takes. And I would just say, really be in mind of exploration. Even when we say we can't do this, that we're determining a space that we see, and that's what we can't do. Just if we ignore that space and just go into it like really not knowing what's going to happen, then the sound, I mean, the sentence of we can't do it wouldn't even exist, because you will do something, and that something is not to be missed because you don't
Mm,
know it yet.
that's so
So
good. Thank
just
you.
do it.
That's
Just
so
do
good.
it. Get
Just do
into it.
it. Take
Yeah.
a first step, whatever it is. Just go one step at a time, prioritize
Hmm.
fun. It's so good. Everyone who's watching live, I know there's a lot of you here. If this was inspiring, can you drop like a little heart or something, or a whatever your favorite emoji is? Because I personally am inspired by this, and I just want to yeah, I don't know. I just want to see how other people are feeling. Someone in the comments says, how do I get started? VCV rack should be more than enough. Yes, VCV rack
Yes.
is amazing. Someone says, is VCV rack enough for your classes? Yes, I teach using VCV rack. I love VCV rack. I'm not
I
sponsored by them.
perform with it. I
Yes,
perform with
yes.
it. Whenever I go and people like, wow, those sounds, you're using the Max MSP. Or I'm like, no,
No,
I'm
VCV
doing
rack
all
is
of those VC.
amazing.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
endless.
yeah.
Don't listen
And
to other people, or it's free or whatever. It's amazing. It's just a tool that's
exactly.
endless, and that there's nothing you cannot do with it. So
Yeah. This is so
I love
sweet.
it.
Thank you, Posse. I love that. Thank you so much. It is a lifetime access course. Yeah. I mean, once you enroll, you have it forever. You're
Mhm.
welcome to come to all the calls. You're welcome to come to all the workshops. It's an open door. Once you're in, you're in. VCV Rack is amazing. If anyone's not sure what that is, again, send me a comment, or just even better, come to Synthesis Simplified, because I'll walk you through what it is and how to get started. Starting tomorrow. We meet for the first time tomorrow. So I think that's it. Let me just check in on the comments and see if there's anything else. Lots of hearts, lots of little emojis coming in. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is really great. And Ipek, thank you so much for sharing your just your stories. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. It's really inspiring. And I hope you keep doing what you're doing. I know you will.
I will. I know. I know
I
you
hope you
will
will, but
too.
I know you will. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. It was lovely to chat with you, and knowing that a lot of people are listening to that too. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And if you're watching the replay, again, leave us comments, ask us questions, and we will happily chat with you after the fact in the comments. Okay. Take care, and I'll see you in the next Spotlight interview. Bye for now,
Bye
everyone.
bye.